and welcome back to the podcast where you decide if that makes sense. We're still talking about friendship, and I will introduce my sweet friend in a few minutes. I hope you guys are good. I hope you enjoyed the last episode that we did. Today, we're talking about now friendships that broke, or rather, we're going to say friendships where you fell out and things are not working anymore. So maybe you're in a bit of conversation with this person, or maybe not. Maybe you actually don't talk anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Sharon.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How are you feeling today?
Today?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm very calm and happy. I had said earlier I'm like half asleep, but that's not going to it's not going to affect this. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So I've known Sharon for quite some time. We met in church. Can I date back when we met each other?
After high school.
After high school,
2017.
actually, yeah. And then we just developed a really awesome friendship in church, and then we ended up going to Daystar again together. Drifted apart a little bit more because life happened in campus, and then somehow just came back together. So she's gonna be sharing her side of like a friendship that she had that fell out. But what's the word, guys? Where you fell out.
Yeah.
And then I'm also gonna share my experience of a friendship I had where we fell out. Same structure. We're gonna have some questions that will guide the conversation. Yeah.
A close one. Yes.
With
actually,
an individual or a group?
Right now, I have both actually, with a group and an individual. Yes.
Female, male, or it's mixed
actually
up?
They're all females.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also in a close friendship dynamic, also individual and group. I'd say most of them actually individual. Group-wise, yeah, maybe 1-2 groups, but individuals mostly, and it's mixed up, male and female. Yeah.
So for me, we met in high school, and because I was in boarding school, it was easy for us to make a connection. So she was a newcomer, and I was a prefect at the time. So when we have newcomers in our class, I'm the one who's I'm responsible for them. So that's how our friendship grew. Yeah.
So like from day one, or did
literally from day one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What form was this in high school?
We were in form 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I met my friend, ex-friend for the sake of the podcast, also in high school, and we didn't actually hit it off immediately. So in form 1, we were just okay, nothing too serious. Then I think in around form 2 is when we kind of started getting a bit closer.
Yeah.
She was hanging with a different crowd. I was hanging with a different crowd. I can't even tell you how we started clicking. I think we'd just go to each other's dorms for things. I think we wore like the same skirt size or same shirt size. So sometimes you need something. And that's how our relationship started.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe let's start with how did the fallout happen?
Okay, so for us, it was a difference in beliefs, and my decisions. There's a situation in wine, and the decisions that I made were not the same ones that she made, and it just seemed to be problematic. It was this ones for. It seemed like, when I think about it now, I think there's a point where she thought now, because I'm making a decision that seemed like the right thing, which in my opinion is the right thing. It looked like, so now you think you're better than me.
Or did she actually say those words, or did you just feel it?
It was a very wild confrontation, Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very. I was basically being attacked for the decisions that I made, because mine were completely apart from what other people were doing. So I knew how it made me look. I would have expected it from other people. I didn't see it coming from her. That's
And when you say that there were different decisions, did you then feel like it was just her against you, or there was another bigger group around what was going on? And if you want to share what went on, that's also really open.
Oh, yeah, it's a very basic thing. This thing where people cheat in exams. So please, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not like goody two shoes or anything, but like now that we're grown ups, you think about it and you're like, there was no point of doing these things.
Okay.
So there was a very like it before we read, you know, there was a very tight thing around exams.
Yeah.
It was so strict.
And isn't it crazy, like, since our high school days, sorry for interrupting, since our high school days, we've been made to feel like passing in exams was so essential.
Yeah, it's
it
like
was
the
make
only
or
thing.
break, you know.
Exactly.
And I saw someone say on Instagram that the reason people cheat in exams is because our school system has really elevated the grades versus what you're learning.
Exactly.
So it's always about getting the pass mark,
You know,
pass mark. Not
yeah.
really, did you understand the concept?
Yeah.
But anyway.
So that's what happened. And we were in a situation where, so there was this, so when Form 3, when in 844, when you reach Form 3, that's when they start preparing you for the exams. So they come to you and they're like, this is how KCC is gonna be, you know, that kind of thing. So there was this thing where the smart kids, strangely, like, unlike in other places where we experience where smart kids are gatekeeping, so now the smart kids were like saying, we're going to help people pass the exams. So there was this technique of using tissue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that semester, parents were buying a lot of tissue because it was being used in the exam room. So I chose not to cheat.
Okay.
I was like, guys, I'm really not doing it. Like, I'm not going to do it, you know. Because for me, I come from a family where if you get in trouble with me, and I'm definitely going to get caught. So I just choose to, just stay the right path. So it brought up a very big scandal because there was a lot of outside voices in our friendship where she'd never ask me things. You know, the way we'd be seated here, we talk and everything. And then tomorrow we meet and you're coming to me with a very strange attitude. You're mad at me for whatever reason and you're not addressing this problem. You're going to address an issue with other people. You know, I actually realized there was no trust at the beginning of the friendship, which it came up. I came to realize it came up when, you know, she'd sit with other people and then she'd hear them talking about me. Because I experienced a lot of, you know, people would talk about me behind my back a lot in high school. High school was a very strange place, honestly, for me. Yeah. You know, people used to pick on me, especially from 1 and 2.
Okay.
People were picking on me about the smallest of things. So, like, unnecessarily, like, you just sit down and then you hear someone talking about me. And then you'll come back to me and you're like mad at me or something. I don't know. It was very weird. There was like a lot of outside voices. Okay. And she used to take listen to them more than me. And then she'd never address these issues. So when this certain situation happened and I had trusted her, it just blew out, you know. You know that you can trust someone and then they just do something against you. Yeah. That's what happened.
That's so crazy. Yeah. So when that happened, one of the questions was it an agreed kind of fallout? So did you sit and say, you know what, we are done? Or did it just like phase out?
There was no agreement. What happened? It was a very hostile confrontation because of the decisions I make for not cheating. And then some people said, you know what, I'm going to snitch on you people. And I was friends with these guys.
The ones who wanted to snitch?
Yeah. Okay. You know. And then she came to me and then she said, picking up stuff I had done in the past. And she's like, now I can see it. You know, it was a very hostile confrontation. Okay. It's like it was planned, you know? Okay. And it left me in a very strange space. Like, because we were like 1 week into the exam season. And in my head, I'm like, so I'm going to be, so for some, it had turned everyone against me, you know? Because now a majority of the guys just said, we're going to cheat, we're going to use the tissues, it's fine. And I was in a very compromised situation because I'm in class with these people. Yeah. We sleep in the same dorms, like I'm with you all the time, you know? So it was 1 week into the exam and we have like 2 more weeks until we go home. It was so weird for me. Yeah, I can see it was such a weird place.
Wow. Yeah. Mine was very... Ours was not after high school. So the confrontation was not even during high school, it was after high school. So we've done high school together. It was crazy because we've been talking about how literally, after high school, we're going to be hanging out all the time, spending time together. You guys are going to be in my life forever. But then we leave high school and I've always been a very churchy kind of person, really straightforward with the fact that I love God. Yeah. I was in CU and all of that. But I was living like a lukewarm life. So you're in it with the good guys and you're in it with the bad guys. Yeah. So that was my balance. But then right after high school, I now started becoming a bit more, what's the word? centered in where I wanted to be, but still flowing in terms of being lukewarm and everything. So there are times we'd be hanging out together, drinking and blah, 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 blah. But we started getting to a point where her lifestyle was just not matching with mine in any way.
Yeah.
So she wants to hang out on Fridays and drink. And then on Saturday, we are nursing hangovers and just spending a lot of time doing nothing. So on Sunday, you're a bit too tired to do anything. I was getting more active in church. And I just started realizing this clash. So first, she started hanging out with other people without telling me. And I'm not saying you have to tell me all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, so you guys were hanging out and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And then she'd just like make some two remarks like, yeah, because you're in church all the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in the nicest way.
Exactly.
Like Rena, I can be a self-proclaimed church girl.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to...
No, don't use it against me.
Don't use it against me.
Yeah, don't make it look like I'm the problem because I'm spending time in church.
Exactly.
You know?
So that's what happened. Yeah, and it wasn't a communicated fallout.
Yeah.
We also just fizzled out.
Yeah.
I could start. I was okay with it, interestingly, because I don't think I wanted to have a conversation. I didn't want us to sit down and be like, okay, so what happened between us? Interestingly, my mom had told me a while back, because she'd met my friend once in a while, and she just told me, you and Nani, I'm not seeing this friendship going too long. And I was like, you don't know us. Us, we're going to be boys forever. She's going to be the auntie to my babies. But my mom was like, no, you guys are in two very different pages. So I think how the chips fell, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Did you wish it was done differently?
Honestly, I really wish it was done differently because it changed a lot of things for me in terms of how I interact with people. You know, like it. How do I put it? I had a really, like, it took me a really long time to start trusting people again. You know. Okay. So just for context, I've always been a bubbly person. You know that because we're close. But if I go into a place somewhere and you see me for the first time, I've experienced this a lot actually. And someone, like, when I get close to people, they tell me, you know, the first time I saw you, like, you
seem standoff.
very, very intimidating, you know. So that was not always the case. Like, I would walk into a room and you just feel that, hi, how are you? That kind of thing. So that changed. It changed completely because okay, I had already gotten used to it initially when I had started high school, when I was being picked on about a lot of things. At some point, it turned into bullying, so I switched schools. But like the nitpicking about my character traits and everything, the kind of person I am, it continued, but I had been able to handle it eventually. But like when I trust someone, because you know, I would expect it from outsiders, but like I trust you, and then the very things that like you just you completely like use them against me. So it took me a long time to like trust people.
So you do wish that it was done differently?
I really do. I wish it was done differently because it's completely changed everything. That's how I actually became an introvert, because I started spending a lot of time on my own. Because it's like this is the only way I'm safe, you know. Then I had like few close friends, you know, that kind of thing.
Signs that the fallout was happening. I'd say mine were one spending as much time together, but even when we did, there was little or almost nothing to talk about anymore. Because we're not on the same page. I'm doing different things, you're doing different things. And you know, everyone assumes that when you're so different and something I've even thought about even with romantic partners, everyone assumes that when you are different, that you have more to talk about. But remember, conversation is not just about what I'm saying, it's also about how you're perceiving it and relating to it. So we have a lot to talk about, but very little to relate to one another. So that kept happening so many times. And then there are also instances where she would be crossing boundaries, in my perspective. So let's say with my space, with my house, there's just a way I like to do things, and I'd feel like she's overstepping those boundaries. There's the times that she would come to my place I'd always feel like I'm being smothered, and it's because I'm not free to be exactly who I want to be.
Yeah.
So small things like that were my telltales that, yeah, this is not quite going where I wanted it to go.
Right.
And then, of course, now I could see her spending time with other people, and they related more.
Yeah.
So I think in my own way, I started hanging out with people I related more to. Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
So for me, it started with now, like I had mentioned earlier, you come to me like with, you're upset about something, and I'm confused, like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
So you had something from Nani, and then Siju Nani, and then you come at me. Every time that we're interacting, you're on edge. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's a bit, it became a bit weird, So at some point, and then I also noticed like the lack of trust was a bit extreme, whereby if I'd have other close friends, there's a time I had a journal, because as you know, I've been journaling for a really long time. Yeah, so I had a really close friend where we used to journal together, and so we had a journal together with this particular friend of mine. She was more like a sister.
Oh, so you write like in the same journal?
Yeah, so I write, then you read it, you give feedback, and then you also write your thoughts, that kind of thing. Then it got lost. There's a day we just couldn't find it. And then I later on found it in this close friend's things. And I'm like,
how is it here and why?
Bro, what's going on? It was so weird.
So
I was
did she address it?
No, she didn't. She didn't, because I found it when I was looking for something else. And I'm not that kind of person who's going to come at you straight. Like, if you don't come to me and tell me, like, and admit it to yourself, like I did something,
you won't fish for it.
I'm not going to fish for it. I'm not going to out you, because there's that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
then it got me thinking, I'm like, she probably read this entire thing. That's such an invasion of privacy.
It is.
And when I thought about it, I was like, if she asked,
you could have told her.
I would have told her what I was writing, because this is something between me and another person, because I can't just we are close friends, yes, but I can't tell you what this other person is, because we're doing this thing in confidence.
Yeah.
So it was so weird. I was like, so I started noticing this, like the lack of trust, and it's because she was not coming to me. She was going to, like, she was listening to other people, and then you come to me, and it's like you're coming to me with aggression and not a point of. So I had this, and I just wanted to hear it from you first.
Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah. So personally, I completely retreated into some form of cocoon. Yeah, like we just stopped spending time together, and then people would come and ask questions like,
so yeah,
normally you do this with this person, what happened, and you don't even know what to tell them, But then again, because the entire confrontation was very public.
Really?
It was. I'm telling you, it was
it's
a
not
whole
just
thing.
the both of you, like,
no,
it was out.
It was a whole thing. It was so dramatic. I was like, even when I think about it right now, I was like, it was completely unnecessary. It didn't have to happen that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for some people now, they like, you'd see people walking around eggshells when they want to ask you about something. You can sense some tension. So technically, before I completely healed from the whole situation, I just used to avoid a lot of people. And then I talk about it with like a few close friends.
And were you in the same class with her?
No, yeah, we were. It was very weird.
So how was that?
Like, it was so weird.
Yeah.
It was such a toxic space. But like, my class teacher was a chill person. So there's a point where he just switched me, like he switched positions where I was sitting, and I was moved.
Oh, nice.
That really did a lot for me, because it was easier to ignore what's going on. And then now the people I was sitting around seemed to have some form of understanding that she's really in a weird space, so we just respect it as it is.
Yeah.
And that actually really contributed to me like moving on in a very positive way. But so I became like, it was obvious now that we just completely became distant. Things that we'd normally do together, we don't do them. It's no longer happening, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think, let me even retrack back to where my friendship started ending. I realized it didn't start falling out particularly after high school. Even towards the end, KCSE period.
That period was
so weird. Because now we're just Form 4s, all of us in school. And I was friends with so many other people.
Yeah.
And I developed stronger bonds with other people.
Yeah.
So what changed for me, number one, was who I'd sit with during lunch.
Uh-huh.
That was the first change that happened.
Yeah.
So I was no longer sitting at our class table, because for us, you'd sit in classes. I'd sit at another class's table with my friend from that class, or she'd come to sit at my table. So that's when I think everybody started noticing, something is going on, like they're no longer talking as much. Then I remember, and someone reminded me this, sometimes during our free time, we'd play the hot seats in class. So one person goes and sits at the front, and everyone in class gets to ask you anything they want to know about you.
Yeah.
And I remember someone asking me, who is your best friend?
Oh, girl.
And I didn't say her name.
Oof.
I said someone else's name.
And everybody was just like, oh.
What? Yeah, literally full of like, what?
I'm pretty sure they could feel the shift. They were like, oh.
And I think that, honestly, when I think about it, that started our downfall.
It did?
Yeah, because it was very clear my allegiance was not to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that was a shift that happened for me. For her, the shift was, another really important aspect of our school was entertainment time. So if you wanted to sit at a place that's closer to the TV, you'd sit and then book for other people.
Yeah.
So for her, now I wasn't booking seats for her.
Oh.
And it wasn't on purpose. I just didn't know if she was coming for entertainment, or she's gonna go take a nap, or she's doing her laundry. I didn't know what she was doing. So I saw that shift also happen for her, which was in the most amazing way. But like I said, now she got closer with other people.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the people I got close to, I kept so close to date. And now for her, the people she ended up being close to, she's kept so close to date.
Yeah.
So I think that's the shift that's happened to both of us.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, no. I don't think the fallout could have been prevented, because one of us had to change. One of us had to go to the other side of... Because see, again, like I said, our issue was our foundation. What was going on, our lifestyle was so different. So it was either I become more like her, or she becomes more like me. And I didn't see that happening. Yeah. So I don't think it would have been prevented.
I think ours could have. It could have, because I was friends with people, very different character traits, you know. Like, I actually believe I have that kind of gift. You'd see me with someone and you're like, I wouldn't, like, how did that work, you know? And nothing, it was never weird with those kind of people. And she wasn't that different from me. If the outside voices were not a problem, this thing where you listen to, I think her issue was peer pressure was the way to go. So, and you know, peer pressure was never a thing for me, because I was already out of place for whatever reason. So yeah, so if she was trusting enough to just come to me and then like address these things, I would have even communicated to her and told her what's going on. And told her, you know, babe, this is like a thing. Like people actually do this. It's, you know, it wouldn't have happened. But it just kept culminating. And then one big thing happened that like brought out the complete differences in our values and our value systems. And it just blew up. So if she would come to me and like trust that I'm going to tell her what's really going on and just like communicate, the whole thing wouldn't, it wouldn't have happened actually. I actually think we'd still be friends to this day, but you know, life happens. Yeah.
The role I think I played in the fallout is not communicating. And as somebody who prides herself as a great communicator, I think I should have done that. Because in all the issues that happened back then, and I'm talking, because we stopped talking around 2018-ish, 19. I never once told her that that's what I was feeling. I never once told her that you're actually crossing this boundary, or I think we have these differences. Do we want to work them out? At that time, that's not what I was doing. I definitely regret that, because I think, as much as I've said that I don't think our fallout anything would have changed in our fallout, because she still is the same person I left that time. So we still would have drifted apart. At least maybe if I'd called it out or just nicely mentioned it to her, she'd have taken a different path. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe sometimes you just need that one person to tell you, hey, what you're doing is really not going anywhere. And I watch her life and I see the consequences of the life she decided to live. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have said something back then.
Yeah.
But it has influenced how I am with my friends nowadays. We had Lucky in the last episode, and we're talking about how intentional we are with certain conversations in our friendship.
Yeah.
And even with you, the way we
Yeah.
talk about this. I remember one
Yeah.
time when I was at your place and we had such a really deep and funny
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I know I'm never going to do that again. Where my friend
Exactly.
is doing something and I don't like it, or I like it and I'm not mentioning it.
Yeah.
So I think it really influenced that.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Okay.
And for you?
So for me, I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
There was subtle signs of, but like the way it unfolded,
Mm.
it took me by surprise.
Yeah.
So when I had time, like, you know, after everything had happened, you know, everything had settled, and then I could now think clearly about the events that unfolded. I was at the time, I had a hard time standing up for myself.
Okay.
I really did, you know, because maybe if I stood up for myself, it would make it harder for people to, or rather, I wouldn't have been such an easy target, you know. Because, you know, there's all these people in high school who, like, you can't even attempt to go and to come at them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they look like they can chapa you for real, you know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So that kind of thing. And I was also very naive because for me to trust someone fully that way and then realizing that they never trusted me from the beginning means there's a lot of things I hadn't seen, you know. So I was very naive in that manner, and my inability to stand up for myself, that's where I believe that's where, yeah. No.
Why not?
Let me tell you why. So we went to Form 4. I told you I met this girl in Form 3.
Yeah.
And so we had gone for the long holiday in December. Then somewhere in the middle, she sent me a text apologizing.
Oh, okay.
That time I was at peace, actually. Everything was good. I was at home, and that's when I started valuing the time I spent with family. Maybe that's why I actually find myself not leaving the house a lot, because I have siblings and I'm constantly with them. So there's that. And she apologized in text, and I told her, girl, I forgave you a long time ago, right? Then we opened school, and then she came to me in person. She's like, I just feel like it's important to apologize to you in person. I was like, that's okay. And then a few days later, she wants to become friends again.
Oh, okay.
And she says something very wild. She's like, so, you know, I just realized, now you see the very reason why we fell out, the reason why she broke things off, is the very reason why she wanted to come back and be friends with me. Because her reasons were, I'm realizing the decisions that you make and how you actually choose to do things, you're constantly at peace, which is true.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like always getting into trouble. Yeah. Like everything is just, it's okay. I'm good, right? And she told me, like, she realized, like, when she was my friend before all these things started happening, she wasn't, you know, she wasn't in trouble. She was also like, she dates back and she's like, I really was, I was okay. I was good until I started listening to these people and I started hanging out with like a different crowd, you know, and she started getting into weird trouble, which is weird, which is true, because I also noticed, I was like, oh, what's going on, you know?
Suddenly
you know, a group of people went out for a function. Some people caused trouble. She's with them. I'm like, oh, you know, you wouldn't think that would have happened. But like, what really took me off, like, she came and then she was like, so I'd like things to come back to the way they were. I was like, girl, do you not remember what you did? Why would you, you know? So when something like that happens, so I was like, you know what? I can't promise you we're going to be in the same level. But I can try. I can try. And I did. I really did. But like, there's a role she used to play that someone else was already doing that. And then it looked like she was trying to get back into that, but it didn't work. Then towards the end, again during KCC, I found myself just wanting to distance myself from her completely. Our energies were just not matching anymore, and I just had to end.
Okay.
So we already tried the whole rekindling thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not
working.
working. Yeah. So I just ended things and we just went our different ways. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I would rekindle it. There's so much playing in my mind and I'm just not sure. Maybe because we are so far removed from one another, I'm not even sure what rekindling would look like.
Yeah.
We're on two very different stages of our lives right now. So I don't think I would rekindle it. Let me say I don't know. I wouldn't give a yes or a no answer to it because we've not tried, we've not talked after high school as much.
Yeah.
So I really don't know if I would rekindle it. Yeah.
It would be giving that friend you haven't seen in years. You've seen that meme, and then at the back is a pyramid scheme. It would be so weird. Like girls are like, why you come?
Where are you coming from? All of a sudden,
it's so odd. Yeah.
I think that would be a quick answer. For me, it was coming from high school, getting into uni life. The reality that we're no longer in a sheltered community, and now you get to do what you want. So that was a transition that happened. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a transition, but like more like we were faced with this decision where we had to make completely different decisions. Like we had to make different choices in this certain situation. And she wasn't okay with it. I was like, if this is a deal breaker, then so because technically that's what happened. If you think about it, like she was like, I can't be associated with someone like you. So yeah, so I guess maybe that's yeah.
So do you think fallouts happen more with friends who are female, male, or female, male? Yeah, and why?
I wouldn't know what to say about male, but I think it happens more with male and female. I'm speaking from experience. I have very complicated relationships with men.
Okay.
And I think I've explained to you a couple of times why.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or anything.
You can share.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to female-male relationships, I think men sometimes have an expectation that this is going to become something more. I don't believe in platonic male-female close relationships. I don't. If I'm dating someone and then you come and tell me you have a female best friend,
maybe
red
not a
flag.
best friend,
like someone who's
friend.
I no, it's not gonna work. Please don't. It won't work. I'm not doing this with you, sir. No. Yeah. Because there's always some underlying affections. I'm telling you, and they come out eventually.
Okay.
You know, there's always some underlying affections seated there just somewhere. And then it's like they're activated when someone is realizing, oh my goodness, I'm at risk of losing this person in this certain capacity. You know? Okay. So I feel like it happens more with female, yeah. Okay. And then also because in female relationships, I think women tolerate a lot of things amongst themselves. Yeah. And then also for some women, it's very toxic, but it seems to work. I've seen it, especially with my older female friends, and then in their friend groups. They have some passive aggressiveness, and then that story ends there. I don't know. They don't address a lot of things. There's a lot of passive aggressiveness, and then the story just it's okay. You know,
it's okay.
Yeah,
but
it's just
fine.
it's fine. Yeah.
I disagree. Maybe because I have experienced friendship with male people, male people, of course there are people, with guys, and it never really became anything. I'm currently in friendships with guys, and I don't even see it becoming anything. And it's not that they're not attractive, please.
Can I tell you?
All my friends are attractive, but I just think where my mind is, it's just, I only see you as that friend that I'm with, that I'm around. But granted, it's possible. Most of the time when I have male friendships, it's because there's another person in the picture, like a romantic partner or someone I'm interested in. So I'm rarely focusing on you.
Okay.
But I would be lying if I didn't say that there are aspects where sometimes you look at your male friend and you're like, wow, you're actually almost everything I want in a partner.
So
but then my mind brings it all back, and I'm like, the truth is, I'd be forcing issues. I'd be trying to to make a pairing that's just not working.
It's not there.
Yeah, but now with female relationships, that's actually where I feel there are more fallouts because of what you've said.
Yeah.
Women, we rarely say the truth.
True.
We rarely say exactly what we're feeling because there's always that underlying factor that, oh, maybe she's gonna think maybe she's gonna think I'm jealous of her. Maybe she's gonna think I am not too happy. So I feel with female friendships, fallouts happen so quickly because of the competitive aspect, actually.
That's the problem.
Yeah, the competitive aspect. And with men, you're rarely competing.
Yeah.
Unless he wants you or you want him. So anytime a girl is in the picture, you're just sabotaging. That can happen. But I feel, in my experience, being friends with men, there's a lesser chance of a fallout. Actually, when I think through all the guys I've been friends with, like really close friends with, we've not fallen out because they tell it to me straight. They're like, Harper, you're making the wrong decision. Or Harper, I think you're doing really, really well. But if ever it escalated, then of course there was going to be a fallout because when we're romantic partners, it's difficult for us to come back to just being friends. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's anyone in particular I started off as a close friend and then we tried being something else. I think I am too scared of those situations.
That issue about competition, I think it's something you need to talk about on this point. I've had it a lot. Okay, for me, female friendships, the ones I have currently, because after the experiences I had in high school, it took me a lot of time to have close-knit friends. I was that person where I'm friends with the people I am. Like, I'm friends with you where we are. Like, physically. If we're going to meet, maybe like we're here, then, after this, like, there's no form of contact, you know, that kind of thing. Or if we're going to go to church, I'll be like, hi, how are you doing? We chill. And then you won't hear from me again until the next time, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it was never intentional. And so but the friendships I have now is something I became intentional about. I even prayed about it. So, like, the friends I have, the aspect of competition is not there.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, it came in, they all started with authenticity, you know? So, I know if I come to you, Christine, and tell you something, it's not going to come off as...
Why is she saying that?
It won't be...
It's just, that's Sharon, that's Christine. We move from where we are.
But I also acknowledge it's not the same for everyone.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
So there's that. So, but I wanted to ask you though, with your male friends, do you know where they stand with the whole... Do you know how they feel about you? Because
that's a good question. No, because I don't think we've had that conversation.
But if you feel it's gonna open a Pandora's box, don't do it.
I think maybe that's why I don't even ask. I just assume. Because I know I'm very on purpose, even with finding out who their love interests are, who they're into, just to make it very clear. It's not me, boo. It's just not me.
But you know, men are weird. They probably won't. They're like, I don't want to risk it. But
now you're putting thoughts into my mind.
Listen, I'm an overthinker. Don't let this affect you.
No, but I get it. I think that those ones I've noticed, like wanting to spend more time, or I've become like an emotional, what's the word, crutch to some way.
Okay.
But it's never clicked to me that you're into me. For me, it's just, and it's something actually one of my romantic partners a while back had told me. I see the good in everybody. Sometimes I don't see when people actually want more. And I realize it's a real problem. I even had a hard time identifying guys who had a crush on me. Because I always thought they just want to be friends, or they just want to hang out, or they just... And then someone finally told me, and now I could see it happening. I was like, oh yeah, that guy actually talks to me a lot. Or this one is always calling me at this time, or this one... So I think in my mind, there's this filter, or there's this lack of filter. Everyone just goes through the same filter. I'm just like, all of y'all just want to be my friends. Until you make your feelings clear, I'm not going to ask.
If you don't speak up, don't...
I will assume.
Or you find it like in a really weird situation where you realize you're friends with this person, but you've never seen them dating. Can I tell you? And then you later discover you're the reason.
Exactly.
And
or everyone else thinks you're together. That's why no one is approaching you, no one is approaching him.
It's crazy. And you're like, hold up. So I actually saw something a few a few weeks, actually just last week I saw something on social media, and my parting shot is it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve, friendships. For me, there's a point where I started feeling guilty. I was like, I'm the one who actually I took a lot of strays, you know. I got more hurt. I don't know if this person got hurt at some point, I'm not sure. But like, I used to feel guilty. I'm like, why am I feeling bad? Sometimes I would find myself missing them. And I'm like, no, you know, you have to make a conscious decision to just like, some people don't talk about like the reason, like grieving.
Yeah.
That the decision that you made to walk away from this situation, because you knew if you stayed, you'd continue getting hurt and everything. So for me, my parting shot, it's okay for you to grieve, because it's a necessary stage to experience for you to move on.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to heal and be able to approach other relationships without the hurt that you experienced. You know, for me to start learning how to trust people again, I had to spend a lot of time on my own. And start like working. Because maybe I think about some of the characteristics I had like were negative, yes. So I had to stop beating myself up. Like I had to work on myself first, you know, that kind of thing. And then also just grieve this person.
Yeah. And the relationship in general.
Exactly. So I can be able to interact with people in a normal way. Yeah.
I'd say it's okay not to have your friends forever.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I don't know if Fred remembers telling me this. Once upon a time, Fred is behind the camera. Once upon a time, I don't know what we were talking about. It was me, Fred, and a group of us who've been to campus together. And I was telling them how it was something relating to my friends and how much I love my friends. And he laughed so loudly. And then he was like, the problem with you, Christine, is you think life is all of us are going to be walking, holding hands, walking into a rainbow. And he told me that's not the reality. And I was telling him, no, but I want you guys for the rest of my life. And he was like, that's just not going to happen. And that also stuck in my mind, because the reality is that's what happened, actually. Not with them. They're still so close to my heart. But the truth is there are people who fell off, and I stopped carrying it so heavily. I stopped feeling like, oh no, I've lost my friends. I just realized, things happen. Okay, that happens. Life happens, and I don't have to. So it's okay if you don't get to keep all of your friends forever and ever. Amen. It probably may not happen. And with that said, we're going to end this particular episode right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you get to think about the friendships that you have, even the ones that broke or the fallouts that you had. And I'd want you actually to focus on that one question. What did you do, or what do you think you can do if you want to rekindle that friendship to get back together? And sometimes it's okay if you don't want to get back together, honestly. For me, it just didn't make sense to go back to being friends with one another. But if it makes sense to you, then have at it. Thank you for watching this episode. See you on the next one.